To give you a bit of an explanation, Knauf Drywall are here to demonstrate a product called Knauf Brio, which is a dry screed floor product. It completely takes out the water that's required when you're installing a wet screed over underfloor heating. So if you imagine here in front of you, this is our site we've mocked up. We've already applied to the perimeter of the room an foam edge strip, and my colleague here, Mark, is going to show you how to lay the product. So before he starts, just to give you a bit of information about the product itself, the reason that the product is so good for underfloor heating is because it has a really good thermal conductivity of 0.038. So unlike chipboard, it allows the heat to pass through very efficiently and very evenly, so you don't get hot spots around the product. Because it allows the heat to transfer through so well, you can actually reduce the temperature that the water flows through the pipework. We usually say up to about 5 degrees, so it's a very environmentally friendly product. To explain the first board, the edges of the board, as you can hopefully see from there, are lapped, so you have to remove the edges of the first board so that you get a clean flat surface to butt up to the wall. So the board is laid over the top of the floor to create a floating floor. It's not fixed down to the floor in any way, so it's very similar to a wet screed. It's just you haven't got to wait your 24 hours per millimetre for it to dry. But as you're laying each board, you would apply an adhesive along the edges. Now the tube that's supplied in has two, hopefully you can see from where you are, two openings. So it actually, as you squeeze, it applies two parallel beads of adhesive in one hit. So that adhesive will be applied and then the board would be lifted down in place. Now obviously it's a small room, so we've got to the end of our room quite quickly, so we've cut up a piece to fit, and again we've removed the lapped edges off of the board. So what we've now done is used the leftover offcut from that last piece to start our second row so that there's no waste, and it also gives you a brick effect pattern. Again, the edge of that board against the wall has been removed, and my beautiful assistant will remember to glue. Occasionally you might need to help give the board a little persuasion to get in. Because you've put the foam edge strip around the room, you've got a little bit of leeway. This is actually a full size board to give you an idea of the size. Obviously, as you can see, it's still a one-man lift. Now we've got to the point where we've done 2 rows, we'd then go back and screw fix the boards. It only requires 7 screws per board because the screws are only holding it in place while the adhesive sets. As the adhesive sets, it will expand, and if the boards weren't screwed down, they would begin to lift. So as you're screwing the board using the Knauf Drywall Brio screws, so they're the right thickness for the board, so they don't penetrate through into the pipework, you would stand on the side of the board that has the lapped edge, so that you're pushing the board down as you're fixing it. So again, the last boards, we've removed the lapped edge. Now you'd go along that last row and you'd use the screws. Once that adhesive has had a couple of hours to set, as I was saying earlier, it begins to expand, and you'd actually see the adhesive on the board. It's a blue adhesive, it comes up through every joint, and you use then a simple spatula just to go along and remove it. Once it's hard, it will literally just snap off. It's very brittle, very quick and very easy. That's then your finished floor, and there's no lengthy commissioning, because the minute you finish laying the floor, you can put the pressure straight up. So whereas with wet screeds, you've got to do the laying under pressure and then begin to gradually over time keep going back and turning up the pressure, this gives you a system that's instantly trafficable. After 4 hours, you can have heavy traffic within the room, so you can begin doing your drywall, painting and decorating the room, and you can have your system fully up to full pressure.